That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther. All she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther.
Up for sound bites. This is awesome.
Welcome back to Anti-Religious Scripture Study with me, Karen B, and of course, Just Jack, Flat Earth. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Yes.
Yay, 2 days to Pesach, aka Passover. Getting ready for it. It's party time. A week of partying. So in 2 days, there's the feast of Pesach, where you eat the lamb with the bitter herbs and unleavened bread, and then we have a week of unleavened bread party. I will probably be having 2 drinks a day for the next, week or so. So it's gonna be a good time, and anybody who wants any information about that, there's multiple videos that we have about the Torah calendar. So check it out if you're interested. I'll go ahead and get through the disclaimer. Just Jack's disclaimer to the religious: if you believe it's wrong to study the scripture outside of your religion or denomination, if you believe your religious leaders or church fathers are incapable of having inherited anti-scriptural traditions of men, if you've already made up your mind about scripture, including the scripture shouldn't be studied at all, then the stream is not for you. To others, if you are open-minded to others' opinions, if you haven't made up your mind about scripture, if you've been turned off to religion but believe there's truth in scripture that may have been changed or hidden by religion, if you live according to scripture and like to dig in and discover more, then the stream is for you. We are looking at scripture in the original language using concordances or dictionaries for root words, as well as context from a non-religious perspective. We will as well have life experience discussion. We are not here to argue with others about theology or doctrine by the traditions of men, including Catholicism, Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. We will be discussing the importance of origins and show how religions contradict the scriptures. There we go. So, yeah, this is the culmination of the book of Numbers. And so the last few chapters are kind of like a recap. So the first couple of chapters I'm going to kind of skim through, and then we'll slow down when we get to chapter 35. Last week on chapter 32. Okay, so this was about the tribe of Reuben and the tribe of Gad saying, we like this land for developing our cattle, right? It's large open fields here. We like it, on this side of the Jordan River, right? We're on this side of the Jordan, and we'd like this land. And they're like, so you're saying you're not going to war with us? We're not going to get rid of the people that are, in the land that we're going to inherit. And they're like, okay, we'll go to war and we'll leave our young ones and our women here, and then we'll come back. So that was chapter 32 in a nutshell. And if you don't mind, I'll just read through 33 and 34, unless you want to do it.
Or you can read one, I can read one, whatever you want to do.
Sure. Okay, I'll read 33 and you can read 34, and then we'll get into 35 together.
Alrighty.
All right. These are the departures of the children of Israel who went out of the land of Mitzrayim by their divisions under the hand of Moshe and Aaron. Of course, they're talking about leaving Mitzrayim, meaning Egypt. And Moshe wrote down the starting points of their departures at the mouth of Yehovah, and these are their departures according to their starting points. So they departed for Ramesses in the first new moon. Okay, so first of all, 1 second. First of all, it wasn't called Ramesses. If you look at, it doesn't even mention Ramesses in Exodus at all. What they're doing is the person who recorded the Torah is calling it what it is now called. So, hey, that region that's now called Ramesses, that's where it happened. It didn't actually happen in the town called Ramesses. There's a very interesting video that gets into that called Patterns of Evidence, the Exodus. Very interesting stuff. You should check that out. Okay, sorry. So they departed from Ramesses in the first new moon on the 15th day of the first new moon, which is the beginning of Matzot, because they had Passover in Egypt. On the morrow of the Pesach, the children of Israel went out with boldness before the eyes of Mitzrites. The Mitzrites were bearing their firstborn, whom Jehovah had stricken among them. Also their mighty ones, Jehovah had executed judgments. Okay, so when it talks about bearing their firstborn, it does not mean they were all babies. If it happened to me, to my household, I would die because I'm the firstborn of my family. And I'm not a baby. Okay, just putting that out there. And the mighty ones, Jehovah had executed judgments. Each plague was in the face of their deities. Like they got a deity of the flies, a deity of the frogs, a deity of the livestock, the deity of the river, et cetera, et cetera. So each of those plagues was against their deities. And the final one was the Pharaoh himself considered himself a deity, and he was the last one that the judgment came upon. The children of Israel departed from Ramses and camped at Sukkot. They departed from Sukkot and camped at Etham, which is on the edge of the wilderness. And they departed from Etham and turned back to Pi-Hahirot, to the east of Baal-Zephon, and they camped near Migdol. Baal-Zephon is Lord of the North. They departed from Hahirot and passed over through the midst of the sea into the wilderness, went 3 days' journey in the wilderness of Etam and camped at Marah. They camped at Marah and came to Elim. And at Elim, there were 12 springs of water, 70 palm trees, and they camped there. That's also in that video where they actually found the location, but that's besides the point. They departed from Elim and camped by the Red Sea, aka Sea of Reeds. And they departed from the Sea of Reeds and camped to the wilderness of Sin. They departed from the wilderness of Sin and camped at Dovka. They departed Dovka and camped at Alush. They departed from Alush and camped at Rephidim. And there was no water for the people to drink. And then I'm gonna skim through this. Rephidim, wilderness of Sin, Kobrot Hatova, Hatzerot, Ritma, Rimon Peretz, Livna, Risa, Kehelata, Mount Shafer, Karda, Nemak, Helot, Tachat, Terach, Mitcha, Pasmona, Mosrot, Bene Ya'akan, Kor Hagidgad, Yot Bata, oh my gosh, Yot Bata, Avrona, Etzon Gever, Kadesh, and camped at Mount Hor on the boundary of Edom. Then Aaron the priest went up to Mount Hor at the mouth of Yehovah and died there in the 40th year after the children of Israel had come out of the land of Mitzrayim on the first day of the 5th new moon. All right, so that's where Aaron died. Aaron was 123 years old when he died at Mount Hor. And if anybody was wondering why I was only reading just the names, if you look, it's from there to there, from there to there, from there to there. So, you know, so they departed from Mount Hor and camped at Salmonah. And they departed from Salmonah and camped at Punon. Punon, sorry. And they departed from Punon and camped at Obot to Ai-Ha-Avram at the border of Moab. Then Divon Gad. Then Oman Divlat Tahayema in the mountains of Avarim before Nevo. And they departed, by the way, well, I'll never mind. And they departed from the mountains of Avarim and camped to the deserts of Moab by the Yarden of Jericho. And they camped by the Yarden from Bet Yeshimot as far as Avel Shittim in the desert plains of Moab. And okay, so now I can actually read this because after going through this whole list, now there's an actual statement. All right, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when you've passed over the Yarden into the land of Canaan, then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and shall destroy all their engraved stones, and shall destroy their molten image, and lay waste to their high places, and you shall possess the land and dwell in it, for I have given you the land to possess. Like, let's say America was the promised land, it would look way different if we went to America and took these commandments. There is so many graven images and molten images and, you know, a lot of idolatry in this nation, just letting you know.
Yeah.
Including the phallic symbol, you know, all these
obelisks,
pikes with the obelisks. Yeah. I
mean, the Capitol's got a big one.
Yeah, they're phallic symbols to the sun god.
Yeah.
Because he lost his penis first. Anyway, and you shall divide the land by law as an inheritance among your clans. To the larger, you give a larger inheritance. To the smaller, you give a smaller inheritance. Wherever the lot falls to anyone, the lot is like dice, but in this case, it's probably the Umim and Thurman, right? That we talked about that the high priest uses to make decisions. And that is his. You inherit among the tribes of your fathers. If you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall become that those whom you let remain shall be pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they shall trouble you in the land where you dwell. and it shall be that I do to you as I thought to do to them. In other words, if you can't get rid of them, then I'll scatter you out of the land, which is what happens because they start doing their worship and stuff. But that's in the future. All right, you can read 34 whenever you're ready. It's going to be very
All
quite
right.
repetitive, but
Okay. And Yehovah spoke to Moshe, saying, Command the children of Israel and say to them, when you come into the land of Canaan, this is the land which falls to you as an inheritance of the land of Canaan to its boundaries. Then your southern border shall be from the wilderness of Sin, along with the border of Edom, and your southern border shall be eastward from the end of the salt sea. Then your border shall turn from the southern side of the ascent of Achravim, continue to Sin, and be on the south of Kadesh Barnea, and it shall go on to Hatzar Adar, and continue to Atzmon.
yeah, just to let you know, like there's a couple of questionable spots, but most of these places are known. And if you map this out on our geographical maps today, Israel would be like at least 4 times its size now. It's pretty crazy. It's a big chunk of land. But continue.
And the border shall turn from Atzmon to the Wadi of Mitzrayim, and it shall end at the sea. As for the western border, you shall have the great sea for this border. This is your western border. And this is your northern border. From the great sea you mark out your borderline to Mount Hor. From Mount Hor you mark out your border to the entrance of Hamat, and the edge of the border shall be toward Sedad. And the border shall proceed to Ziphron, and it shall end at the Hatzar Enan. This is your northern border. And you shall mark out your eastern border from Hatzar Enan to Shifam, and the border shall go down from Shaphan to Riblah on the east side of Ain, and the border shall go down and reach to the eastern side of the Sea of Kinneret. What's the Sea of Kinneret?
Not sure. I can Google it really quick and see what happens.
I'm just curious because a whole sea would be big, right? Kinneret.
Not necessarily. Like when you look
Sea of
at a
Galilee.
big map, a sea can look like a pond when you're looking at the entirety. The Great Sea, of course, is the Mediterranean, so that one's pretty easy. But
So this
copy
is Sea of Galilee.
Okay, if it's the Sea of Galilee, then it's a long, strippy sea. It's like a big pond. Yeah, it says Sea of Galilee. Yeah.
And the border shall go down to Jordan, and the goings out of it shall be at the salt sea. This shall be your land with the coast thereof round about. And Moses commanded the children of Israel, saying, This is the land which you shall inherit by lot, which the Lord command. Well, I'm reading KJV.
It's funny. It's funny how you're triggered so quickly. I love it.
This is the land which you inherit by lot, which Yehovah has commanded to give to the 9 tribes and to the half tribe. The half tribe, for the tribe.
Yeah, because Ephraim and Manasseh are 2 tribes in one. It's the tribe of Joseph.
Okay.
And one of them wanted to stay on this side of the Yarden.
All right. For the tribe of the children of Reuven, according to the house of their fathers, and the tribe of the children of Gad, according to the house of their fathers, have received their inheritance, and the half tribe of Menashe,
yeah, Manasseh, yeah,
has received its inheritance. The 2 tribes and the half tribe have received their inheritance beyond the Yarden of Jericho, eastward toward the sunrise. Right. And Yehovah spoke to Moshe, saying, These are the names of the men who divide the land among you as an inheritance: Eleazar the priest and Yehoshua son of Nun.
One pause there. I actually like how this one gives you 2 descriptions for east, so that there's no confusion. But then if you look at it, it's the same root word. So they're one is east, or that which is before, and one is east as the dawning east. So it's good. Like it gives you both descriptions, so you're not confused.
And take 1 leader of every tribe to divide the land for the inheritance. And these are the names of the men from the tribe of Yehuda: Caleb, son of Yefuneh, And the tribe of the children of Shimon, Shemuel, son of Ammihud. From the tribe of Benjamin, Elidad, son of Kislon, and a leader from the tribe of the children of Dan, Buki, son of Yogli. Is that
Sorry, those sound funny.
how do you pronounce that Yogli? That line above the G.
Oh, it's like
sure.
They're just saying it's like a double G, Yogli.
Okay, so it is a hard
Yogli.
G.
Yeah, I mean, if you just say Yogli, it still sounds the same.
Okay, from the sons of Yosef, a leader from the tribe of the children of Manasseh, Haniel, son of Ephod, and a leader from the tribe of the children of Ephraim, Kemuel, son of Shiftan, and a leader from the tribe of the children of Zebulun, Elitzaphan, son of Parnak, and a leader from the
That's
tribe...
actually Parnach.
Parnach, okay. And a leader from the tribe of the children of Yissaskar, Paltiel, son of Azan, and a leader from the tribe of the children of Asher, Ahihud, son of Shelomi, and a leader from the tribe of the children of Naphtali, Pedael, son of Ammihud. These are the ones Yehovah commanded to divide the inheritance among the children of Israel in the land of Canaan.
All right, good job. You can read those names better than I can. I try, but if you're trying to go
I don't know that
fast,
I'm doing so great.
No, you're doing fine.
There's just nobody here to correct me.
Yeah. Well, I know how they're supposed to sound. I know when they come out of my mouth that sometimes they just don't sound right. So. All right. So now we're in chapter 35. This is the one I spent the time to translate, because when you go through like 33 and 34, there's a lot of names. So yeah, we can get into 35 now. This is if you remember, the Levites the name of Levi means to join. Okay. So Yah said, these are the ones to join to me to do the temple service, etc., etc. And so they have no inheritance, right? They actually have no land to say this is the land of the Levites, right? Of the Leviim. But regardless, they each, in every of all the territories that the other tribes have, each of them have to give a portion of their land for the Levites to grow their food, for somewhere for them to sleep, etc., etc. So they're like designated towns within each land. And that's what this is talking about right here. Okay. So.
All right. And Yehovah spoke to Moshe in the desert plains of Moab by the Yarden of Jericho, saying, Command the children of Israel that they shall give the Levites cities to dwell in from the inheritance of their possession. Also give the Levites open land around the cities.
Okay, so open land is so that they have somewhere for their flocks and crops,
And they shall have the cities to dwell in, and their open land for their cattle, and for their herds, and for their livestock. And the open land of the cities which you give the Levites are from the wall of the city outward 1,000 cubits all around.
Okay, so these open land is actually the outskirt. And when I was looking up this word that they use in KJV, suburbs, right? So I go to look up the definition of suburbs, and wouldn't you know, suburbs actually means the outskirts.
Yeah.
Now we just like, process it like that's where the residential area is, period, suburbs, right? But it literally means the outskirts away from the city. That's what it literally means. So it still has its same meaning. They've just replaced it with the word suburbs, but suburbs actually means outside the city. So outskirts. Very interesting.
And you shall measure outside the city on the east side 2,000 cubits, and on the south side 2,000 cubits, and on the west side 2,000 cubits, and on the north side 2,000 cubits, and the city is in the middle. This is to them the open land for the cities.
So it's not no small land.
And the cities,
it's a lot of area.
Yeah. And the cities which you give to the Levites are the 6 cities of refuge, which you give to the manslayer to flee to, and to these you add 42 cities. Manslayer.
And they're going to get into that in this chapter. So that is exactly the right response. What? Manslayer? Why do the manslayers get to go to the cities? And what are the manslayers? We're going to get into that. So,
right. All the cities which you give to the Levites are 48. These are their open land. These with their open land.
Yep.
And the cities which you give are from the possession of the children of Israel. From the larger tribe you give many, from the smaller you give few. Each one gives some of its cities to the Levites in proportion to the inheritance that each inherits.
In other words, it's proportionate. You know, if you have a lot, you have to give a lot. If you have a little, you have to give a little. That kind of thing.
And Jehovah spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you pass over the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you shall choose cities to be cities of refuge for you, that the manslayer who struck someone mistakenly shall flee there.
Okay, so now we can slightly allude to what we're getting into, but this is typical thing of Torah, where it gives you an overarching thing, and then it gets into the details. So, continue.
And they shall be cities of refuge for you from the revenger. The manslayer is not to die until he stands before the congregation for right ruling.
Okay, so there was a mention of this earlier, that if you kill somebody, then the brother has the right, or the nearest relative has the right to hunt the killer down. However, if the killer killed by accident, he can escape to the city of refuge, and the brother can't go after him until a judgment has been made. So if, like, let's say a brother witnesses the murder, he can kill him right then and there with no repercussions. Right? If he, you know, if he saw it and says, yeah, he definitely murdered, like, you know, purposefully killed my brother, then he can kill him immediately.
And of the cities which you give, 6 are to be cities of refuge. Give 3 cities beyond the Jordan, and give 3 cities in the land of Canaan as cities of refuge. These 6 cities are for refuge for the children of Israel, and for the sojourner, and for the settler in their midst, for anyone who mistakenly strikes someone to flee there.
Okay, so this is saying, like we've talked about this before, where there's different rankings. Like there's the children of Israel, the ones who are there all the time, already in the land ownership, the sojourner who travels through, you know, he stays there for a while, goes somewhere else, kind of like a vacationer, I guess you would say. And then you got the traveler, someone who's just passing through. So all of these people have a way to protect themselves if they accidentally kill someone. All right, 16.
But if he has stricken him with an instrument of iron so that he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer shall certainly be put to death.
So if you got a metal weapon, you're pretty sure that you're going to kill someone if you're hitting them with a metal weapon. All right.
And if he has stricken him with a stone in the hand by which one could die, and he does die, he is a murderer, and the murderer shall certainly be put to death. Or if he has stricken him with a wooden instrument that could kill, and he does die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall certainly be put to death.
I like it. Well, I don't like it, obviously, but I like the axiom here. Like, not a wooden instrument, but a wooden instrument that could kill someone. Right? So if you have like a branch in your hand and you hit someone and they have a heart attack, that's not the same thing.
It's like a bat or something.
Yeah, like a club. Yeah, exactly.
The revenger of blood himself puts the murderer to death. When he meets him, he puts him to death. And if he thrusts him through in hatred, or throws an object at him while lying in wait, so that he dies, or in enmity he strikes him with his hand so that he dies, the one who struck him shall certainly be put to death, for he is a murderer. The revenger of blood puts the murderer to death when he meets him.
All right, so here we have, he's in hatred, right? He's in lying in wait, and he beats him to death with his own hands. Still counts, right? That's without a weapon, but he's doing it. He's trying to kill the guy, and he kills him. So
Mhm. But if he pushes him suddenly without enmity, or throws an object at him without lying in wait, or uses a stone by which a man could die, throwing it at him without seeing him so that he dies, while he was not his enemy or seeking his harm, then the congregation shall judge between him who struck someone and the revenger of blood according to these right rulings. And the congregation shall rescue the manslayer from the hand of the revenger of blood, and the congregation shall return him to the city of refuge where he had fled, and he shall remain there until death of the high priest who was anointed with the set-apart oil.
So the high priest is the one who says, okay, he gets to stay in the city of refuge. But when he dies, that, that passing is done. But that doesn't mean that the revenger can go hunt him down. It just means he doesn't have to stay in the city of refuge any longer. Because the city of refuge is basically like, if somebody kills your family member, even if it was in accident, you may still want revenge.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah.
So you're given it time to cool down. Like,
Mhm.
get him out of here, keep him safe, and then when the family member has time to cool down, then he can, leave the city of refuge.
Right. But if the manslayer at any time goes outside the limits of the city or refuge where he fled, and the revenger of blood finds him outside the limits of his city of refuge, and the revenger of blood executes the manslayer, he is not guilty of blood, because he should have remained in his city of refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the death of the high priest, the manslayer is to return to the land of his possession.
Wow. So imagine you're a disgruntled family member, and you sit outside the city of refuge just waiting for him to leave.
Right?
I mean, and they said, hey, you had a place to keep safe and you didn't take it. So the family member's not held responsible. That's pretty deep. It's like giving the right to
Right. So, like, how is
family.
that? I don't understand how that itself wouldn't be murder. Like, if
Yeah.
you lied in wait outside the city, that's lying in wait, and you kill the person to take revenge. I mean, how is that not murder?
Yeah, and I mean that is I can't justify it, but I do understand that, if you're a person who had a family member die, that you lose control, your emotions overcome you. So I can understand why there would be an understanding that they would do that, but yet I still think they should be held responsible. But in the case of the Torah, it says, no, if you're in hiding until the designated time, stay in hiding, right? Stay in that city. And we're not talking about like he's trapped in a cell or anything. He's in a city, an entire city, where he doesn't have to leave that city to survive or anything,
Right.
But if he does leave the city and the family member kills him, according to Torah, he has the right to do so. Like, how dare you show your face before the designated time?
Yeah.
It would be like manslaughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like involuntary manslaughter, you still have to serve time or whatever.
Right.
And then like if you escape prison for manslaughter and the family member finds him and kills him, it's kind of like that,
Hmm. And these shall be for a law of right ruling to you throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Whoever strikes a being, the murderer shall be executed by the mouth of the witnesses, but one witness does not bear witness against someone to die.
So this is also like repeated in the New Testament, like 2 or more witnesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is like, you can't just use one witness because somebody could have a grudge to bear, and their testimony may not be valid. So there has to be at least 2 witnesses.
And take no ransom for the life of a murderer who is guilty of death, but he shall certainly be put to death.
In other words, he can't save his life by money if he does commit murder.
Not unlike today.
Unlike today, correct.
And take no ransom for him who has fled to his city of refuge to return to dwell in the land before the death of the priest.
So you can't get out of jail, regardless of how much money. But again, this is not jail. This is a city of refuge. I
Right.
think the city of refuge idea would be a good idea, right? Like criminals. I don't know if you've seen like old movies in the 80s and 90s. There's a lot of them where it's like prison cities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, yeah, you can go live, but you can live with other people like you. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
you can all be criminals together. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. And do not profane the land where you are, for blood profanes the land, and the land is not pardoned for the blood that is shed on it, except by the blood of him who shed it.
Okay, and profane here is actually corruption or made dirty or stained. So you're staining the land with blood.
And do not defile the
You're
land.
making it you're making it bad land, like the with the blood shedding.
Yeah. And do not defile the land which you inhabit, in the midst of which I dwell. For I Yehovah am dwelling in the midst of the children of Israel.
Woohoo, we made it. Yeah, I wanted to get into this a little bit because this is the concept of like there was actual, an actual good judgment system that was set in place. And as far as like the family member taking revenge on the dude who escapes the city, makes me see that there's exceptions for emotional states, right?
Yeah.
I'm not an emotional person. I'd be like, I don't care, how mad you are about somebody killing somebody. It's not worth you, going after him, right?
Yeah.
But it's actually giving a lenience for the mental state of the family member who lost someone, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, you made him mad by killing a family member. You should have stayed safe. It's pretty interesting. That's not the way I would do it, but that's, it is the way I would do it according to Torah, though, because if I was in charge of such things, I would have to honor Torah. All
Yeah.
right. Anyway, shout out to Boston Ray, Mud Flood Adventures, TC Zamman, Aisling 717. What's up, Cammy? Flatty 915, Tony Coriolis, Joseph Osborne, Zulu One, Thunder Chicken, Lord Racer, Effed Up World, Jay, Badfish Bear, Busted Muffin. Some of these names, man. Keto Cheeto, Caleb, Duke Nukem, the Russian word. Let's see. Geo World, Rupert Twine, Stationary Pizza, John Keeley, 7 Minutes to Freedom, Paul and O'Shea faked the arrest.
That's no despair bear.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Rich Spellman. All right. So, I saw something in here like out of the corner of my eye. Oh my goodness, where was it?
No, Caleb says no prisons for profit to benefit corporations, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
Now
right,
it's prison
right.
for
They
profit.
can't use money. Yeah, they can't use money to get out of crime, but they do it all the time.
And nobody gets rehabilitated in a prison. Like if they were still living in a city where they could, you would think that a lot more people would be able to turn themselves around than just going to prison forever or for a long time. And
yeah, like you become more of a criminal in prison. It does not make people better. It makes people worse
well,
when you
and
go to
then they
prison.
get out and they don't know how to function in society because it's
Yeah.
totally different.
Well, I mean the distance of time that they give it to. Let's not get into it too far.
I know.
Anyway,
You're right.
oh my gosh, where
So we have one more chapter.
Tel Megiddo is considered one of the months in the Middle East. Yeah. So Tel is I think it's the Greek variation of mountain or peak, and Megiddo is an actual mountain. And in Hebrew, are Megiddo, okay, And this is where we get the word. Oh my gosh, my internet connection is unstable. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound okay.
Okay. So Har-Megiddo is translated in the New Testament as Armageddon. So just so Armageddon is not an event, it's a location where an event happens. Just so you know, it
Hmm.
I was talking to
Now you're breaking up a little bit.
a friend of mine about it the other day. 1, 2, 3. Am I good? Hello, hello.
Okay, you're back.
Delay, clip.
Maybe kill your video.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
How about now? Okay. So the other word that people get confused on is apocalypse. And apocalypse is just apocalypto, which means the unveiling or revealing. So there's a lot of that being thrown around right now. Apocalypse and Armageddon,
Mm-hmm.
and definitions of words matter. So I just thought I'd throw that out there because that's been a thing popping up lately. So all right. I guess the cutting out of the internet is telling me it's time to go. It's all good.
Yeah, well, at least we got through the chapters. We made it.
Yep, and tomorrow, next time will be the last chapter of Numbers, and then we'll get to Deuteronomy, which
Breaking up.
is
Breaking up.
actually Devarim, which means do do do
Wait,
do.
what did you
Oh,
say?
camera's gone.
No, I turned it off because I was trying to make your
Oh,
audio come back because you broke up again. What did you
I
say?
didn't I didn't know you could turn off my camera like that. I was saying the last chapter is 36. Then we'll begin going into Deuteronomy, which is actually called Devarim, which is the words of order.
Okay.
So y'all have a great restful day, and for those of you who are celebrating Passover and Matzot, have a Chag Sameach, a happy spinning. So
Happy spinning. Oh, are
yeah,
we going to be
well,
doing a...
the word for festival means spinning. So happy festival, happy spinning.
All right. Are we going to be doing a scripture study this next Saturday, or is it party time?
Can we play it by ear?
Okay. All right. We'll play it by ear.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, I might be actually throwing in some work in the next few days for my actual employment. I don't know. Depends on how much planning we, because when we do the Moedim in my family, we wing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends if I have enough free time between winging it to get in there. So
All right.
maybe.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for another episode of Anti-Religious Scripture Study, and we hope you have a restful day. Shabbat Shalom.
And the earth is still flat.
And the earth is flat AF.